name is Caleb, and I'm on the editorial team of the Nosher, and I'm excited to be here with Vered for the Pomegranate class. Vered Guttman is an Israeli chef, food writer, and food historian living in Washington, D.C. Her columns and articles on Israeli and Jewish food have appeared in Haaretz, The Washington Post, Slate, Moment Magazine, NPR, and others. And in 2014, she cooked for President Obama's Passover Seder at the White House. So thank you all so much for being here. If you have questions throughout the class, please put them in the chat and I'll ask them to Vered as we go. And I'll do my best to keep everyone your questions asked. But
Thank you, Caleb, and thank you everyone for being here. We're so close to Rosh Hashanah, and I hope the class will still inspire you to use some of the recipes for your Rosh Hashanah table. Now I'm thinking for the first time today that I do not have a single pomegranate to hold and show you this beautiful fruit. But we have a lot of pomegranate seeds to use throughout the class, and pomegranate molasses, and I'll talk about pomegranate as I teach the recipes. Pomegranate, in short, just to say that pomegranate is a very symbolic fruit for Jews. Pomegranate appears many times in the Bible. It symbolizes fertility. For Rosh Hashanah, it symbolizes the good deeds that we hope to do in the new year. Supposedly, there are exactly 613 pomegranate seeds in every pomegranate, which is the exact number of mitzvot a Jew should do, good deeds that a Jew should do in every year. So, no one bothered to ever count. So let's just assume that's true. Pomegranate is also one of the 7 fruits of the land of Israel, together with figs and dates and olives, etc. So it's filled of symbolism and history for us, and it's just a lovely, beautiful, tasty fruit. So we will do 3 recipes today. I assume you got the recipe packet. If you didn't, you will. I'm starting with a Persian recipe of chicken that's cooked for a long time with a sauce of pomegranate molasses. This thing, that's pomegranate molasses. Now this pomegranate molasses is very popular throughout the Middle East. It's not like, unlike the pomegranate syrup that some people use in drinks that's sweetened, this is not sweetened. It's just concentrated pomegranate juice. It's very useful. You can buy it, of course, in many Middle Eastern stores and online, and some kosher Israeli supermarkets. But I think, many times you can get it now at Whole Foods as well. And it's very useful to have at home. So the dressing, the sauce that the chicken is cooked with is made of pomegranate molasses and walnuts. It's a very popular combination in Iran, in Persian food. The dish is called Choresh Fesenchem, and I'll start it now. We're gonna move, my husband is behind the camera here, so if you see the camera move so professionally, it's thanks to him. We're gonna go to the stove here, just to show you that I already started cooking 2 onions that I just sliced thinly. I cut them in half and sliced them. And I already started cooking them because it takes a long time, like at least 20 minutes. So I did some of it before the class. I'm gonna let them cook a little longer as I prepare the chicken. So let's move back here. And I'm gonna put gloves, which I never do, but during classes where I need to move from one dish to the other, I do. So for this dish, I'm using skinless, boneless chicken thighs, which, by the way, in Israel, it's the most desired cut of the chicken, and it's very, very expensive there. Okay, and I'm just gonna spread them here on the tray and put salt and pepper on them. Okay. Salt and pepper, like very liberally. Put salt and pepper on both sides. Salt. Pepper, just a second. Okay. Like, this is one of those dishes that, they're so full of flavor. They're so sophisticated and wonderful, but really, like, the most of the work is done by your burner. It just keeps on cooking the dish for 2 hours, and that what really does the work. So it's a perfect dish for any family or large party meal, because you can do it in advance and forget about it, and it's just so wonderful after 2 hours on the stove. See, I massage the chicken a little bit after I put the salt and pepper, and we're gonna move back to the stove and check the onions. Okay, so we want the onions to be maybe a little more brown than this, but it's getting there. So, I don't want to spend too much time with this, and again, it's gonna cook for an extra 2 hours anyway. But to bring out the sugar in the onion and to make it more caramelized, I'm going to I just added some brown sugar, and I'm gonna cook the onions now for a couple more minutes before we're going to take them out and sear the chickens as well. Okay, let's give it a minute.
And Vered, when you chopped these onions, are you putting them in a dry pan? Do you have it with oil or water? How did you get to where you are now?
Oh, I don't know what dry. Oh, or dry pan. Okay. Yes, I'm sorry. I put some oil. There are 3 tablespoons of olive oil in it. So it doesn't stick too much, and it gives it more flavor. Okay, it looks brownish and nice. I mean, I think if we were not in the middle of class, I would probably let it cook for a couple more minutes longer, but this is fine. It all completely melts into the chicken and into the sauce in the 2 hours that it will cook later anyways. But, sauteed onion, nicely caramelized onion gives the dish a lot of extra flavor. So I'm taking this out. Can you get me the oil for a second? I'll add just a little bit more oil, and I'll bring the chicken. And now we're going to sear the chicken. As you can see, the pan that I'm using is It's very wide and it's shallow. And I know that not everyone has a pan like this at home, but the wider the pan that you're using, for this dish, it's better. You want eventually, like this is not even the full 2 pounds of chicken. Usually what I want to have is to have all the chicken in one layer. Um, they can go on top of each other a little bit, but generally speaking, only in one layer. So just again, I don't need that. No, I don't need it. So we'll just sear the chicken now on both sides and we'll get back to it soon. Any questions in the meantime? I'm gonna hold it now.
Let me check here. So we have one about the nuts in the dish.
Yeah,
If you're allergic to walnuts, is there another nut you'd recommend?
another nut, so other nuts would be fine. I've never tried, and this is such a classic combination, but I think, any of the softer nuts should work, like peanuts, I think would work. It will give it another flavor, but it should work. Hazelnuts I'm sure will work and will be delicious. Almonds, I'm not sure, but hazelnuts and I forgot the name of these nuts.
Rosalind is saying maybe
Cashews will work, peanuts will work, and hazelnuts will work instead if that's helpful.
Rosalind saying maybe pecans. Do you think that one would work?
Yeah, should work, should work. Yes, definitely, definitely. That's a big question. So now, as the chicken is searing behind me, I'm going to prepare the sauce. So what we have is the same, is the pomegranate molasses that I talked about earlier. 3/4 of a cup. By the way, I strained the oil like pan into the measuring cup. This way, the sticky pomegranate molasses, you see, it's pretty thick. This will, be able to pour it outside of it very easily. It does not get stuck to the measuring cup. Okay. And walnuts, little bit of salt, and a little bit of water. All this, we're just going to mix it, puree it, blend it, and this will be the sauce. That's all. So, you see, so not the most good looking sauce, but it's so delicious and it will become so dark with the cooking. So, okay, let's move back here. Oh, okay. What happened to the pen? Okay. Flip it. It's really browned nicely, but remember that it's still going to cook for 2 hours, so it doesn't need to brown too much. And okay, what I'm going to do now is to put the chicken as much as I can together because this sauce tends to burn very easily. So I already lowered. Okay, I'm gonna use the fan for a second. I already lowered the heat to low. I already lowered the heat to low because I feel like the the dressing that we made, if the heat is too high, if the pan is too hot, it will burn relatively quickly. So so it's important to reduce the heat and to cook it for the full 2 hours, but on the lowest heat. And also check it from time to time as it cooks, because you may smell a little like charred smell. You just add more water to the pan and it will be fine. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to spread all the onion that we cooked earlier all over the chicken. Cover the chicken. And going to pour, it looks like a lot, and it is a lot, but you want that. Pour all this very thick sauce on top.
And Vered, Helen's asking, can you do this in the oven if you don't have a large enough pot?
You can continue this in the oven. Did you ask if I can do it in the oven?
Yes.
I'm afraid to, I would be nervous to try. I wouldn't want to be the first one to try. Because, you know, you need it to be in the tray that you put it in the oven. You need to make sure it's covered very well. You know, maybe actually, yes. If you cover the pan that you're using for the oven, if you cover it really well, so it is not burnt from the top and the liquid does not evaporate, then you should be fine. So I think it's possibility, but you will still have to sear the chicken in a smaller pan. You can do it in 2 batches, for example. You will still need to fry the onions before, but then you can assemble all of this in a baking pan. I guess that's what you're asking, and cover it really, really well. If the pan that you have does not have a lid, you can cover it with a double layer of aluminum foil, for example, and do it this way. And then it should be fine. So yeah, so you saw this. Now I just let it cook for 2 hours on the lowest heat. It will be ready, tender, amazing. I can send photos tomorrow because we're not going to be here for 2 hours. But you then decorate it with, with pomegranate seeds, and it looks beautiful and it's so tasty. And again, and especially if you make this for Rosh Hashanah, it has the symbolism of the pomegranate, of the mitzvot that we're supposed to do. So it's really nice. So this is it. That's our most complicated dish of today, and we're done already. Okay. And any questions about this dish?
We don't have nope, the pot was the only question that we have so far.
Excellent. Okay, so the next thing is a beautiful salad of pomegranate seeds, beets and tomatoes, all the red. Our neighbors are making some noise. All red ingredients, so it looks very beautiful. As I said earlier, I did not get a pomegranate for today, and the reason is actually, although pomegranates are in Israel are in season always in time for Rosh Hashanah, and I guess that's why they were always part of, not always, but they became part of the Rosh Hashanah Seder. Pomegranate seeds you can get year-round at many supermarkets, and it makes our life so much easier when you can buy this for $5. And I mean, it's not cheap, but it's okay, and it saves you a lot of work. So this is from Trader Joe's. It costs twice as much at Whole Foods, by the way. So I recommend this version. And if you're gonna do it for Rosh Hashanah, if you intend to buy pomegranate seeds for Rosh Hashanah, I recommend that you call your Trader Joe's now and ask them to keep one for you because they're gone. They're always gone before Rosh Hashanah. So for this salad, I'm going to use my gloves again because beets are very rough on hands.
Vered, we did have a question about the chicken that came in. Do you
Yeah.
serve yours with rice or couscous? What do you recommend?
With rice because it's I'm a traditionalist. It's a Persian dish, and so I serve it usually with Persian rice, meaning the rice with the tadig, that crispy bottom layer that's so tasty. But in general, like rice seems to me more. It can really hold better this type of sauce, I think. It absorbs it well and it's not too gentle like couscous is. So that's how. But you can serve it with anything. Works well with potatoes as well. So that's not it's not necessary. But I think I mean I'm sure the Nosher has a recipe for Persian rice, so you can just make it and it will work perfectly well. So what I want to do for this salad is to have all the ingredients cut as small as the pomegranate seeds. So I'm gonna just start dicing it now, the beets, and I'll do it pretty small. Now again, because I'm so lazy, I bought pre-roasted beets. That was from Trader Joe's, but once again, it's available at many supermarkets. It just makes making this salad so much easier. But you can also, of course, roast your own. It's even tastier if you roast your own. And what you do is you just wrap unpeeled beets in aluminum foil and put them in the oven at 400 degrees so I cannot tell you for how long because it depends on the size. Like these are tiny and it will be half an hour, and for large one it can be an hour, but you roast them until they're ready. And they're ready besides for putting trying to put a fork into them and see that they're tender enough, or a knife, but they will also peel very easily once they're fully cooked. So that's another sign that they're fully cooked. And by the way, beets, in kind of a twist, but beets are also part of the Rosh Hashanah Sephardi blessings, Seder, and maybe I should talk about that now. So we said that, the same way that we are saying the blessing over the apple dipped in honey and over the pomegranate seeds, we say that we want to have all the mitzvot. The tradition of having symbolic foods and saying different prayers for them on Rosh Hashanah started in Babylonian times. And it started with 5 dishes, dates, and I'm going to forget now, dates, black-eyed peas, Swiss chard, kara, which is pumpkin, and one more thing, Swiss chard. Maybe it was the head of a ram. I can't remember now if this was one of the first ones. I'm sorry. And the way it started is that the Jews at the time just started bringing these symbolic dishes to their table and just using them as some kind of wishing the good new year on different aspects of what it means to have a good new year. And the rabbis did not like it. They felt it was very non-Jewish, like it was superstitions and then a little pagan. And so instead of fighting this, what started from the people, they actually made it their own. They made these prayers called the Yehi Ratzon, may it will be. יהי רצון מלפניך, אדוני אלוהינו ואלוהי אבותינו. God, may you make this year so and so, and then they use the dates, for example, the words in the name of the dish in Aramaic or in Arabic, and made like a word pun on it. So like dates, for example, Tamar, Tam, it's like to end. So may our enemies be ended by God. There are many versions of this, like how you're gonna kill our enemies, you're gonna finish them, you're gonna vanish them. Many versions of this. And then throughout the generations, other dishes were added to this in different communities in the diaspora. So the apples in honey started in medieval France, for example, in Provence. And the prayer, the blessing over the pomegranate also started in Europe only in medieval time, which is weird because, as I said earlier, pomegranates are a biblical fruit of the land of Israel. You would think that this would be in the first round of blessings. But anyway, now it's a part of many people's Rosh Hashanah Seder. We call it a Seder because it has a real structure with all these blessings, just like not just like, but almost like the Passover Seder. Oh, I remember what was the fifth one. It's leeks. And some of the Sephardi best dishes for Rosh Hashanah are leek patties, like leek latkes, that are just amazing. So if you can find a recipe, I have a recipe on my website. I'm sure the Moshe has it also. It's so delicious. And throughout the years, there were more and more. Just a second. There were more and more blessings added, like in Yemen, they say a blessing on sesame seeds. In Ashkenaz, in Poland, they say a blessing on beans and on the tzimes, like a lot of things that you have a lot of, like beans and like sesame seeds. It's for prosperity and fertility and things like that. So those were added to. Did you want to ask something?
I did. Robbie has a question about the tomatoes. Could someone
About
use
what?
the tomatoes?
Yeah.
Could you use cherry tomatoes?
Yes. The thing is, as I said earlier, I do want to cut all the ingredients to be more or less, they're not going to be the size of the pomegranate seeds, but kind of. So, maybe if you have the patience to cut the cherry tomatoes into quarters, it will be wonderful and very, very tasty. So, yes. So this is what it looks like. I already added a lot of the pomegranate seeds, but I'm going to add some red onion. That's also red, and it adds a lot of flavor. And I want to add some chive later. Usually I use, and that's what you have in the recipe, I use cilantro, but I have chive at home, a lot of it, and I really like chive, and it will look really nice. So I'm gonna add this instead of the cilantro. Oops. Okay, we'll keep it here to the side. In the meantime, I want to make the dressing for the salad. So for the dressing, we have another pomegranate. Oh, I need the measuring teaspoons. I'm sorry. Okay, so I'm going to use once again the pomegranate syrup. Now, pomegranate syrup is it's very sour. So if you do not have it, like sometimes, lemon juice is kind of the best substitute. So because of that, I'm going to add balsamic vinegar, which is actually sweeter than it adds sweetness to it.
Vered, could you remind us one more time the difference between pomegranate syrup and molasses? People are asking.
Yeah, so pomegranate, like the commercial name will sometimes say syrup and sometimes will say molasses. This one says molasses, but sometimes it will say syrup and it will still be the same thing. So make sure that you choose the right thing. What the syrup is, sometimes people use in drinks, like in cocktails, and it just you make a drink of a pomegranate drink. So you'll get those in liquor stores and some Italian stores, and like it's sweet. It will have sugar. It will say that it is sweet. The pomegranate molasses is basically concentrated pomegranate juice. So it's very sour. It has some of the sweetness of pomegranate, but it's mainly sour. It's used as a sour agent in Persian cooking and cooking in the Middle East in general, and also in Georgia and other places. So that's the difference. Um, you're not going to make a mistake. I mean, it will be clear to you when you shop for it. It is very dark and very thick, but there are different thickness, and it's hard to you do not really know which one how thick and how sour yours is until you actually use it. So it's very helpful to, like, if I'm making a dressing for a salad, I will taste it before I mix it in. With the chicken, it's not something that I can taste before it's cooked, but but maybe after the 2 hours cooking, I will feel that I need to add some sugar even, or a little more water to make it less concentrated. But it's usually fine. Most of them are more or less the same thickness and sourness. Okay, I want to add some olive oil and lime juice. Which again, lime is not very sour comparing to lemon, so because we have enough sourness from the pomegranate molasses. Nice. Enough. Salt. More salt. I have to say that salt in the US is not as salty as the salt in Israel. You need to use a lot. Okay, and we'll add this, and you may want to let it sit. It can sit in the fridge for a while before you serve it. There we go. And let's add the chive now. It's the last step because otherwise it will get very dirty from the dressing, and this way the green will stay greener for a longer time. So this is it. It's, you should taste and see if you want to add more salt or anything else, but in general, this is it. But there's another layer of flavor that we're going to do, and that's, you can definitely serve it like that. And if you're keeping kosher and you're making a meat meal, then this is it. And it's usually I serve it this way, but I can also add labneh cheese mixed with olive oil and a little bit of salt. That was not so little. My labneh was only half full, trying to see the half full cup. So I could just mix it in here. By the way, mixing labneh with a little bit of salt and some olive oil is one of the most delicious dressings and sauces you can imagine. And for this, what I'll do is I'm gonna spread this at the bottom of my plate. Spread it over. Now, the beet pomegranate salad, the beets and the pomegranate are both very, release a lot of juices. And so if you're serving it this way, it's best to add the salad at the last minute. So, so the labneh itself stays white and clean the longest. But if you noticed, I made like almost the shape of a ball out of the labneh, so all the juices are contained inside. And by the way I spread the labneh is how in Israel we serve hummus. You spread it this way, and you put different toppings, usually just tahini and some spicy sauce in the center, and chickpeas, and that's all. Yeah. Okay. This is us. This is it. Just clean here. And look, it's pretty beautiful, actually. Any questions about this one? I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
For the dressing for the salad, are you going for more sweet or more sour?
Okay, I personally do not like sweet food unless if it's dessert, which is I love and I could eat just dessert always. But for food, for salads, I don't really like it when it's sweet. So for me, I'm going more for the sourness, tartness, salty, and counting on the pomegranate seeds and beets and even the tomatoes to have their natural sweetness anyways in this dish. So yeah, the dressing should not be too sweet. But if you prefer it sweet, you can add a little bit of brown sugar. I don't think it's necessary here. Again, because the pomegranate is a little bit sweet and the beets are sweet, so there's enough sweetness there. So,
And one more question. Joseph wants to know what kind of whisk that was you were using for the salad.
oh, wasn't that kind of fancy? I actually, when I'm making dressings, I just put them in a deli container and shake. But I wanted to make a better impression here. So this is like, it's a whisk that's intended for dressings because you can, unlike the whisk, the round whisk that we usually have. This you can put it in a bowl, in a more flat thing, like in a cup, for example, that's not round, the bottom is not round, just a cup, and still mix it really well. So it works very well for dressings. It's very useful, actually. So it's from Williamson. Okay. What I forgot, I started saying, but I talked too much and I forgot what I wanted to say about the beets, that the beets are part of the first 5 foods that were part of the Rosh Hashanah, the Sephardi or Babylonian Rosh Hashanah Seder. Now, I said that Swiss chard was there. Now, Swiss chard in Arabic is silk, and the word for beets in Hebrew is selek. It's from the same, just a second, shush. And for selek, it's the same root, and really like the greens of the beets. If sometimes you're lucky enough to get beets with their greens, you'll see that it looks exactly like Swiss chard. It must be the same family. So although the original original ingredient food that was part of the Rosh Hashanah Seder was chard, people use beets in Israel and elsewhere as well, because it's the same word basically in Hebrew for beets and for Swiss chard. So now we are moving to our last dish, and it's a dessert. It's an Arabic dessert called malabi or malabia. It's almost like I would say a Middle Eastern panna cotta, this Italian pudding that's made with heavy cream, and it's delicious, but it's heavy and rich. The malabi is made with milk, so it's like a pudding that's cooked with either rice flour or with cornstarch to make it thick, and you keep it in the fridge. It gets thicker and cold, and then you put toppings on it. It's much lighter than the panna cotta, and it's really nice. And it's very easy to make it part for any meal. You just use your favorite vegan milk. But I think in this case, especially, almond milk really works well. Coconut milk will work well as well. I think that oat milk will be nice too, but somehow almond milk will keep it in the, even coconut milk will keep it in the same family of flavors. So I think that's a good option. Okay, let's move back to the stove. Let's take a look for a second at our chicken. So it does not look very beautiful right now. It's gonna get so much darker in 2 hours. So trust the process. I'm gonna turn this off and move this here. And on again, just a second. So we can still have dinner here tonight. And moving to make the malabi. Okay, so I have here 4 cups of oops. 4 cups of almond milk. The breaking sound. I use this almond milk. It's unsweetened almond milk. And we will just let it cook until it boils. In the meantime, I also have here an extra cup. Okay, sorry, just a second. I need to clear out stuff from here. I have an extra cup of almond milk here. And I'm going to mix this one with cornstarch. Okay. And just mix it with the pork and keep aside for now. Okay. And to the almond milk in here, in the pan, that's getting hot as we speak, I'm gonna add sugar. And later I'm gonna add orange blossom water. It's a very common ingredient in the Arab cuisine, in the Middle Eastern cuisine. Usually for Malabi, you actually use rose water, but I don't really like the smell of it. So I prefer to use orange blossom, but you can definitely use rose water. Or, you can also add some grated orange peel as well, but all the smoothness of this of the Malabi will be lost. So I'm not sure it's a great idea actually. I'm gonna cover it to make it boil quicker, and in the meantime, I'm going to make the dressing. Okay. The sauce. So Malabi, you talk usually in commercial, like in restaurants, that it used to be a very popular dessert in Mizrahi or in Arabic restaurants in Israel because it can be parve very easily. And in those kitchens, usually there was a very bright red syrup on top. It was like, a lot of red food coloring in it. But what we're making today is our ingredient of the day, the pomegranate syrup. Molasses, sorry, together with honey. You can also use sugar. So I really like the brightness, the bright red syrup, but the flavor here is going to be much better for sure. And I'm actually going to add a little bit of vanilla extract. Ooh. Oh, yeah. Okay. Ignore this. Beautiful. Professional. Okay. So for the dressing, I'm still letting all these ingredients to cook, just to bring them to boil, and that's it. With our milk that had the sugar, if you remember, now I add the mixture of the 1 cup of milk together with cornstarch. And I'm going to mix it with a regular whisk. And already, I can already feel that it's getting thick. It's happening so quickly, it's crazy. Okay, I'm sorry, I need another spoon. Okay, I'll take this. You see that this, okay, I need to mix it because it's not smooth, but it's already very thick on the spatula. Can you see? It drips slowly, it's thick. And when it cools down in the fridge overnight, it's gonna be very thick. So you actually don't want it to be too thick. So basically the minute I poured the cornstarch mixture in, it became thick. So I'm just gonna mix it for 1 minute longer. Yeah, it's thick. It's thick enough. So, okay, I'm gonna turn this off. And just I'm mixing it now when the thing is off because I want to cool it down a little bit before I pour it into the cups, the serving cups. Now, I usually put it in serving cups, individual serving cups, and then top it before I serve. But you can also put it in one large, nice serving bowl and put all the syrup on top when it's cold, when you're ready to serve, and people, you serve to people, or people serve themselves with a spoon into a plate, and that's also an option. Now, the syrup here, at least it's at least very hot, so I think I can already taste. Let's see. It's so good that I feel like I want to add more honey. So here we go. We have another symbolic ingredient here, the honey. By the way, honey, of course, it's like maybe the most traditional popular ingredient to use on Rosh Hashanah, but according to the Kabbalah, some opinions in the Kabbalah, honey is connect to arrogance, and it's not recommended for Rosh Hashanah. It's also the pagans used to brush their sacrifice with honey, and so it was not allowed in the temple. And Iraqi Jews, I'm half Iraqi, half Ashkenazi, and Iraqi Jews do not serve honey on Rosh Hashanah. Traditionally, now they do, but they do not. Instead they make a jam of apples and sugar, and they say a blessing. May this new year be a sweet year, but not as sweet as honey, just a sweet year. So just a little anecdote. Okay, let's move here. The dressing is here. Sorry. Okay, so you will definitely feel here. I can see it with a spoon. Look how thick it is on the spoon, and it's still hot. It will, of course, get much thicker once it cools down. So now I'm going to use. I'm going to pour it into the glasses and hope they will not break because it's too hot. Like it's better to wait a little bit, but I want to show you how it's done. So okay, it's hard to do, but it's much nicer if you don't drip it to the sides as I just did. And what you want to do after you pour this into the serving cups, you want to cover each one with a plastic wrap, because you're gonna get like a kind of a disgusting crust on top once it cools down if you don't. So this may be the most annoying part of this whole process, but it really helps to do it. You will not regret putting the effort and doing this extra step. You can let it cool down on your, just at room temperature, and then put it in the fridge overnight, and you're ready to serve the next day. Now I prepared a few in advance, so wait a second. You see how much egg salad I have in the fridge? Oh. Okay, so it's a jelly-like thingy. But this is not, this has been in the fridge for 3 hours only. I think it will get even thicker by tomorrow, but we can start with this. So again, the dressing is still hot, so, and you're supposed to use it only when it's cold, but we're gonna try. You cover the whole top with this because that's the main flavor of the dish. Yes. And you can top it with many different things, by the way. You can have some of the fruit some of the fruit of the land of Israel on top, like figs and dates chopped in there. And you can have dried fruit on top. And of course, you should have pomegranate seeds. Pistachios, my husband reminds me, or any other nuts. And this is it. It's beautiful and tasty, and yeah. Okay. Any questions on this?
We had someone asking if they could use a lactose-free milk, if you think that would work.
So I assume that it will. I never tried, but there's no reason why it shouldn't. So
And
yeah, it works really well with different types of people actually make it even with just water instead of milk. Because what makes it thick is really the just the cornstarch. So there's no reason why that type of milk won't work.
do you happen to have a cornstarch substitute? Someone's asking.
Yeah, like the better versions. There's like one in Jaffa in Israel on the main street that sells what's considered the best Malabi in Israel. And his secret is that someone told us, next door neighbor told us, is that he's using the more traditional thing, which is rice flour. It's in the recipe. It says so that you can use rice flour instead. So that's an option, and it's a very good option as such.
Okay. And we had a few more questions about the molasses versus syrup, but just
Yeah,
to reiterate, you're using them interchangeably, just sugar with no sugar, the syrup or the molasses.
I think the molasses is thicker also usually, and also at least the good ones and the usually good ones. It's really pomegranate juice that's concentrate of pomegranate juice. There's no food coloring, there's no other ingredients. And with the syrup, it's like, it's like strawberry syrup that you put on pancakes or something. I mean, it will not necessarily be a very good product when it's something like that. But the molasses is a strong flavor, a real thing, real food. So that's the main difference.
Okay.
And yes, and it's not sweet.
Okay, perfect. And Robbie's asking, you had mentioned the recipe almond or coconut. Which one did you use for this recipe? Oh, right now,
Almond, almond one.
almond.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Vered.
Sure, my pleasure.